Hey, we figured out everything, and instead of Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge, we'll now first see Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair 24Bs. See, with Tonics, which is actually quite crazy, and we're gonna tell you about it in a second, by Aljex. Here we go!
Hello.
What's going on, friends?
Yeah. This run is so crazy.
Yeah, welcome to Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. If you've never seen it before, it's a 2D version of Yooka-Laylee. It's not a DLC, it's a sequel. We're gonna be, if you've ever seen Donkey Kong Country, we are gonna be doing a lot of similar things, rolling about as fast as we can. The other fun thing about the with Tonics route is we do the whole entire game about what, 30 to 40% faster, would you say, Aljex?
About 30%, and it does some fun things like mess up the audio and, you know, stuff that everybody loves.
Yeah, so if you like those remixes of songs where they sound like chipmunks, I think you're gonna love this. If you don't, buckle up for a long hour. Well, good sir, whenever you want to start.
Alright, when do this count me down?
Alright, let's go. 3, 2, 1, go!
Alright. Intro. Very boring level.
Oh yeah, intro's a good time. So I mean, hey, if we haven't introduced ourselves yet, Aljex, go ahead.
I'm Aljex. I speedrun
Wow.
this game sometimes. Not much lately, but...
And I'm Tip Daddy, also known as Tip W. I also speedrun these games. And then I think we've got Hedwig with us here too. Nope, he's
no.
gone.
Okay.
Alright, so yeah. Oh, he is here. Good stuff.
I'm gonna just still looking at like audio and stuff like that to just something, but I'm here.
Yep, fair
I'll
enough.
try to support you guys in the commentary.
Alright, so here you're gonna get a taste of just what the 2D movement kind of looks like. As you can, like, it gives you kind of an idea of more what the normal speed of the game runs at. Aljex is using a combination of things like slam boosting, where like you saw you did a ground pound and immediately jumped out of it. That's the fastest current way that we know currently to get horizontal speed. So he'll use that in a lot of levels to just kind of move about as fast as he can. There's also some fun strats where we actually have to wait for capital B in the intro, kind of similar to SMB1 and the bus stop stuff that everyone is kind of notorious now. But yeah, so now I mean, capital B is gonna shoot our B shield a bit, and we're gonna get ourselves a B shield, which the overall, I guess, goal of this category will be to collect 24 Bs as fast as possible, so we can go and fight capital B again. So just a little bit longer here on this tutorial bit, and then we're gonna have to start going about as fast as we can. So as you can see, the B shield here effectively makes Yooka invincible, and so with 24 of them that we're collecting throughout the whole game, that will give us 24 different hits throughout the Impossible Lair. That's kind of how it works. It's a lot like, I guess, Breath of the Wild, where you can go to the final level at any point you want in the game. It just depends on how prepared you are, and you can go for a super challenging time entering it with none of the B shield collected, which would happen if we were to enter it right now, or you could collect all the way up to 48 Bs. So with 24, we're putting ourselves right in the middle there. So, all right, Aljex, I hope you're ready for the Impossible Lair. Don't suck.
Alright, I'll try my best. Oh no! I hit him!
Yes, first hit. This is good. Wait, why'd you die though? Oh no, not the I can't believe you died joke.
That one's never been done before.
Shoutouts to pulling Yuka's tail too.
Yeah, imagine pulling this tail. Well, who would do that?
Oh man, certainly not me. Oof, indeed. Alright, so yeah, we're getting a little bit of a lore dump from Phoebe right here during this part. If you saw, for anyone in chat, if you saw Hedwig's run of 24Bs at AGDQ this past January, you'll see a lot of similarities between the runs. The biggest difference is kind of in the beginning of the run here, as well as what will happen after we collect one specific tonic. Aljex, are you going to be using USB in this run?
Yeah, I plan to.
Okay, cool. So we'll still be doing a lot of cutscene skips and whatnot. That if you saw Hedwig's run there too, those will happen as well. But right off the bat, Aljex is doing some funky platforming to already kind of break the overworld as much as we can. And the first difference right away is we're going to enter into level 2-1 Factory Fright. Pretty much the main reason why we're doing this is to go for quills. You use quills in this game to unlock tonics, or to pay for tonics rather. You collect tonics across the overworld and then we're forced to pay for them, because of course we are. Vendy is a capitalist. But yeah, so this level is, you'll see later on in the level, I suppose, there is a long elevator section where we're just, effectively it's an auto-scroller, but we are given a lot of quills, and since we're trying to get about, I think, is it 400, 500 or so of them?
I want to get 500 total, but 300 in this level.
Sure. So yeah, he's going for about 300, as he said, in this level. That will set him up well to get it's called Tick-Tock tonic. That's the one that speeds us up, or speeds everything up by about 30 to 40%. So that's kind of why we do this. And then another little, I guess, thing with that. Also, if you saw Hedwig's AGDQ run, you saw us do what was called a rope zip in the level Roper and Rage Rerouted. Because everything is 30 to 40% faster, and that trick is actually kind of dependent on your frame rate to determine if you can even if you do get a zip or not. We're just not even going to attempt it. So that's kind of why we're doing 2-1 here instead. But coming up here to pretty much the end of the main level here, you'll see we're getting into the elevator here, which we will sit in. I was about to say now's a great time for donations, but we don't we don't have those here, do we? So I think good stuff. Hopefully we can dream. But yeah, so you can see this this purple quill here, Mr. Hungry, I think is his name. He's one of many ghost riders that you'll see in the game. They look a little bit differently than they did in the first Yooka-Laylee, but they work here to provide you little mini games in a way to get additional quills. So as you can see, Aljex got himself up to around 300, and now the rest of the level here is just going to be jumping up and getting to the beehive.
I will say, practicing this whole game with the tonic on, that level felt like molasses.
Oh, I bet it did. And that's the only one I think that we will actually see at that speed, correct?
Besides the Lair, yes.
Yeah, right, because if you didn't know, the Lair does not allow you to use any tonics, just to, I guess, balance things out a little bit. So now, Aljex is going to go back to Chapter 1, and only reason why is because we got to go pick up that Tick-Tock tonic that I was talking about. So we can use a little trick here where we bonk ourselves up on a wall and then roll over here. This tonic would, I guess in the intended way of collecting it, requires all 48 Bs, so we don't have time for that. Instead, we're just going to cheese our way up there. And then he's also collecting here a good number of overworld quills, just to get ourselves closer and closer to that 500 mark. Right here he's doing a fun trick that we call paywall 1 skip. Effectively it involves buffering a roll while falling to just kind of roll farther than we should be able to, and then it just puts us right over here by Chapter 4. A couple more sets of quills here. And then we're going to jump our way down and talk to Vendy. Vendy is everybody's favorite, maybe not so favorite, maybe forced favorite vending machine. She's a little scary. But she's going to teach us how to unlock Tonics, as well as give us our first one for free. We don't exactly care about that first tonic because, of course, we don't. Instead, Aljex is just going to keep going. He's going to get himself all the way to 500 quills, and then he's probably just going to warp himself back to Chapter 2. Yep. And now that he's got over 500 quills, he can go ahead and purchase that tick-tock tonic, as well as getting rid of the catchy tonic. You'd wonder why. Oh, why do we actually unequip catchy? Well, it's because each tonic provides a quill multiplier to the to whatever you collected in the run, which just at the end screen you saw where we're like kind of seeing how we did in the level. It shows us how many quills and everything, and then just adds time if you've got a multiplier. So that's why. So now, what Aljex is doing is a nice fun trick called an air swim. In this game, there are different kinds of little coins that you collect throughout the levels to pay everyone's favorite trouser snake, Trouser, to open up different areas of the game. We're actually going to float under one of them right about now. There is here you can see the desert paywall. But we don't have time to pay for any of those, nor do we want to pay for any of those because Trouser is a greedy capitalist. But instead, we're going to effectively enter the water swimming state, and then the game constantly tries to make us rise to the surface. And so since it can't actually find a surface for us to rise to, it just kind of makes us swim through the air forever and ever. So we use it to effectively get all the way up to Chapter 10 immediately. It's a pretty neat trick instead of having to pay something like, I don't know, 20 to 30 tokens or something like that. So now we get our first run with chipmunk noises, and it is great. So this is Rope Burn Ridge. As you can see, the main gimmick of this level is there's a ton of ropes. Aljex will be going about as fast as he can here to climb ropes as fast as possible. What's difficult about this, and you wouldn't know this unless you play the game normally, is how much different it feels to play on fast speeds than it does at slow speeds. We are all very used to, I guess, like the speed you saw in 2-1, except for I guess Aljex right now, who's used to this from practicing. But because the levels, like it doesn't speed up effectively. I think it's the intro animation or like the spawning animation. Is that right, Aljex?
Yep.
Yeah, and so because it doesn't actually speed up that animation, it effectively forces parts of the level into a different like cycle than we're used to. So it'll lead to some fun things as we go throughout the game. But now, here you can see the first instance of what we refer to as the USB trick. Shoutouts to our good friend Aljex here, who discovered the trick effectively by being bad at the game. He accidentally unplugged his controller at one point when he picked up a bee, and then of course you want to plug it back in because you're in a speedrun, and realized he had gained control where he shouldn't have had it. And actually, I have to shout out our other friend Hedwig for finding an even better version of the trick by being bad at the original trick. So sometimes that's just how speedruns work, everyone. It just if you're bad, sometimes you can find a trick. So don't ever feel like you can't do speedrunning because you're bad. Maybe you'll find the next best trick. So Aljex is now. Yeah, so Aljex is going to make his way over to the next 2D level that we're going to play, which is Hazard Hanger Hung, 14-2. In getting to there, we have the most notorious 2D trick in the game, the overworld trick in the game, which is the Desert Out of Bounds jump, which Aljex just makes look easy. Way to go, buddy. Yeah, that was good stuff. So you're effectively making use of we call them long jumps in the overworld, where you press jump pretty immediately after you start a roll. It's effectively like maintaining your horizontal I guess, height or vertical height while rolling off of something, and so you can like effectively just kind of initiate coyote time in a way, if you want to think about it like that. But so into Hazard Hanger Hung, where we've got a lot of crabs who are also known as Sheldon McFingers, if I remember correctly. Sheldon is going to do his best to stop us moving fastly through the level, but he's not very good at it.
Oh, maybe he is pretty good at it.
Yeah, he's got big meaty claws, so he's very dangerous.
This is easily the hardest level in the run, so...
Oh yeah, for sure it is. And like it doesn't help that the Sheldons move very sporadically, or they can. They like to just go whichever way they want to. So as you're trying to move fast through everything, that doesn't help, does it? Also, and as you can see here, like we're very used to these levels running at not super speed. So spawning in and this is a great example. Yeah, this is a great example of where the cycles aren't lining up with what we're used to. Typically, if you die at that cutscene or that checkpoint where Aljex just was, you have enough time to very quickly make it over before those crushers kill you. But as you can see there, that was just completely impossible on this tick-tock mode. So instead, we had a little bit of a detour there. Woo! Cut it very close underneath that one. But just gonna finish up the last part of the level here. Gonna have to avoid some homing rockets. Uh-oh. And he's through. Good stuff.
Could have been much worse than it was, to be honest.
Exactly. Definitely could have been much worse.
Yeah, I think we can't emphasize enough on the fact how much harder this has to be playing with the T4 Tonics. Like this level already gives a good chance of losing the run if we're playing on normal speed.
100% it does.
Playing with this altered speed, with everything being so quick, just crazy.
So another usage there of the USB trick, we can actually gain control on the map screen, which allows us to warp over to other areas, which is a good thing too. One thing I didn't mention about the USB trick is that once you initiate it, you are unable to pause for the rest of the entire game. You just don't even have access to it. And so if you end up somewhere where you're not supposed to be and need to pause or something like that, you're just out of luck. Also, so here we are in 17-1, also known as Boom Bloom Blast. I'll make an obligatory DK barrel joke. Those look pretty nice. Wonder where those came from. But this level, as you can see, is all themed about shooting yourself out of these cannons. I guess harder and harder variants. As you can see here, the whole entire ending section of this level is, ooh, nice Laylee catch, is completely over some pits. Aljex is gonna just kind of damage boost himself through the end there because he knows he's at the end. And there's short and sweet Boom Bloom Blast. Now we're gonna say hello to everybody's favorite Blamphibia. If you know Rodney, get your Pog, get your something. Chat.
Oh, it's frog.
Kind of frog emote. Rodney. All right, bye, Rodney. So now Aljex is going to make his way back up to some of the other beach levels. He's making use here of what are called water hops. While it doesn't probably look like it, that is pretty close to like frame perfect. Jumping across those various, or jumping on top of the water, you have to basically jump on pretty close to the same frame that you land on the water, where you end up triggering a like landing and splashing animation, I guess is what you could refer to it as. So 16-1 is home to a pretty cool out-of-bounds strat through Captain Brian. Unfortunately, this is another instance of where the super speed just makes things a lot more difficult, and it's just not even worth going for. So instead, you're going to see the end of the first room, like you maybe didn't see it at the GDQ run. You can just see there's lasers that try to blast us, but then get back over into the next room. Keep on going. Oh, way to go, Laylee. We'd actually come back as we expected to. get your Pepe D's in chat if you enjoy the music. Also some cowbell. I wonder if we'll hear the cowbell.
Actually, because of like the same load-in thing, the load-in issue, you hear the songs, like later parts of the songs, easier.
Which is great. I mean, the soundtrack of this game is incredible. I don't know if you've got it on 8-bit or normal, because I don't want to hear double my voice here. Normal soundtrack. So let's give our shout outs to Playtonic and the amazing music crew over there. I think it's like Dan Murdoch and Matt Griffin are the Playtonic composers, as well as David Wise, Grant Kirkhope. They both lent some of their talents to the game as well. Made it as musically great as it is. Use a nice little strat there to flip ourselves up to the first of 4 secret bees. Like a DKC game, this game has secret exits in it that you can use to get to bees, but all 4 of the secret exit bees... Oh, I said the first one, but we did the first one a while ago, at 14. But the secret bees are effectively all on the overworld, and we have ways to skip all 4 of them, so instead of having to do 4 additional levels, we cut that time out. So this level is this is a great example of alternate states in this game. That's kind of how while there are 20 total like quote unquote levels, there are 2 variants of each level. So for this level, while the previous one was all horizontal, as you can see when that flipper flipped, it changed the level into a vertical orientation. So what used to be a long climb through stuff or a long like kind of roll through everything is now turned into climbing vertically. So pretty cool. There's a lot of other unique ways to do transitions as well in other levels. But toward the end of this level here, Aljex is just going to get to some quills. Of course, you want to jump on the happy quills, don't jump on the sad quills. But then just hit one more flipper here, and we'll be done with 16-1.
This category
16-2, I should say. Nice level indeed, my sir. Alright, we are coming into now the first of our 2D air swims. Like you saw earlier, we can air swim through the overworld. We can also air swim through levels in 2D as well. And there is a very relatively easy trick to get right in the beginning of this Turbine Trouble title level to get ourselves right outside bounds. So Aljex is doing his best to do that, and there he is. So now he's over to the left of the screen where he can get himself into the water. Just has to be careful of the cog. But then he can, as you can see, just continue to swim. And instead of going through the level normally, we're just going to swim over it. So, Hedwig, read some imaginary donations or something. I think you've got time for one.
Greetings from Germany, or...
Pull Yuka's tail.
I will, but no one's able to.
And that's just like that, Turbine Trouble title is over. That's a great thing about how fast we're moving here in TikTok, things just move super fast. And so now, if you liked Rodney before, you're gonna like him again because he's still Rodney. We're gonna get one more overworld beat here over on the beach, which is actually the only intended use of the long jump that I talked about earlier. So if you're having a little bit of trouble getting that beat, try doing, I guess, what I suggested there. You kind of roll off of it, and then you have to jump partially through the air. But now that we've got the beach bee, we're going to make our way back over to Rodney, who is a amphibian fisherman, and is actually going to pull the whole entire town out of the level here to make for, it's got to be chaotic in there. But we'll see how it looks now. This is another level that we're going to have to shout out Captain Brian for. This level, you won't see it in this version of the run, but it has another rope zip, which is to the left of that, the starting screen, and you can use it to gain some absolutely insane momentum. Like, so much so that Brian, I believe, has finished the level in like 15 seconds or something like that. And when typically the without T4, the level takes about a minute and 10 seconds or something like that. So you can see how much potential there is in that rope zip. But instead, Aljex will just use some good old-fashioned platforming and all that to make our way through the level just as fast as we can.
Wow.
Nice rope boost. That was a really clean one too. Except for
Not
that.
sure, was it a boost? Wasn't it just like more speed?
I think it was a boost. It moved a little bit faster, but might have indeed. All right. Well, as much as I love Rodney, we're gonna leave him for now. Instead, we get a nice tweet voice line. Tweet.
Tweet.
Alrighty, now we are going to enter into 3-1, which is Wild Web Woods. As you can see, he had another instance of the paywall one skip to get himself in, but now this is going to be just this is a level to effectively just kind of show off versions or the differing types of ropes there are in the game. Of course, we already had Rope Burn Ridge earlier in the run, but this is the first intended level to show you about ropes and kind of teach you how they work, whether either being stationary or, as you can see here, some swinging ropes, which give some more horizontal momentum. We like to use those horizontal or those swinging ropes to great effect in the speedrun, so give ourselves even faster than typical horizontal speeds. This is another great one that we shout out the soundtrack too, just because it's always great. I think Hedwig always says it reminds him of Skyward Sword, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, exactly. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I don't really know why, but somehow the feeling of
like
it.
Skyloft a bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in a way.
But yeah, so now that you saw the first instance of that level, the next instance that we've got is it's just wilder in general. It's kind of like those levels in Super Mario Galaxy where you've got little Shadow Marios chasing you at all times. We've got these little chomper dudes who aren't able to be rolled through because they've got big teeth. So, but because we move so fast, they effectively aren't even a challenge to us. You'll probably only see a couple of them on the screen ever at once. Aljex is just going to zip through the level. Oh, there was one, but he's already gone. Ooh, we died.
That is a tough jump on T4.
That is a tough, yeah. That's just, we can't overstate how challenging it is to move at these speeds.
Yeah, that speed, like at that point in the level, we're basically already going like way faster than the game intends us to using the rope, like the speed jumping off of the rope.
Mm-hmm.
And like having that combined with the T4 tonic just creates easy speed.
It really does. Well, I lied about some of the chompers. Some of them want to come into us here at the very end. So, but again, no problems. We're just gonna make our way through, and there's the end of 3-2. So now we're going to he's going to attempt to throw a bomb at another secret exit B. Well, there's an easy version and a hard version. Hopefully he gets the hard version. This is actually, as you can see, you're probably wondering, hey, why didn't he skip this cutscene? Or why didn't he skip this little B cutscene? This is one of, I think, 2 instances that we have to watch because they're tied to overworld cutscenes. Overworld cutscenes, unfortunately, never end if you don't actually watch them, like if you try and skip them. So that's just the reason why. So unfortunately, he missed the hard throw, but here Aljex is going to be able to show off the easy throw. You just kind of stand on a... Oh, maybe he won't show off the easy throw. You just kind of stand on a fence there, and then... fun thing about the game is those berries and rocks and stuff, they actually like to lock on to things that are hittable by them. So like you can just like yeet them. You can yeet berries from far away. They'll still just lock straight on to the the beehive. So now we're coming into one of my personal favorite levels. We've got a Gasping Glade. I just really enjoy the atmosphere of this level. And this level is home to one example of where we carry a berry the entirety of the way through the level. It basically just makes it so that we can't take a hit throughout everything. Otherwise, we'll drop the berry. Berries can typically berries just explode if they drop. So that adds just a little bit more to the run or to the level of stress, but Aljex can handle it.
Always good to put some pressure on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be a speedrun if not. But he's doing well. He's just got one more room to make it through here. Then it'll be the end of the level. This one, as you can see, there's a lot of elevators and stuff, so just gonna hang out. There's a couple elevator spots here to the ending of this level, and then we'll be on to the next one. More imaginary donations, please.
Save the frames, kill the bees.
Nice berry throw.
Thank you. Thank you.
For after all of that, he threw the berry for nothing and had to do it normally anyways.
Orb.
Or okay, I'm gonna have to count my bomb jump.
Alrighty, so yeah, now we as much as this game probably looks like the overworld looks like a 2D Zelda, of course it wouldn't be complete without these bomb jumps. Good stuff. Yeah, I wanted to be quiet there. The way those work is effectively there's a number of beeps that happen. I think there's like 23 total beeps or something like that. Everybody kind of has their own way to think through it, but like you effectively just need to count the beeps to time when to put yourself into the air, and then you just get knocked backwards by the explosion, which can knock you up onto platforms you're not supposed to reach. So as fun as moving about 40% faster through everything was already, now levels like this 8 and 8-1 have a lot of bottomless pits in them to make things just even more fun, which Aljex very, very nicely made it through that first section of bottomless pit. He's got another one here that he will... Man, he's making things look easy. Oh, taking a little slow. Oh, he'll make it.
Took it very safe.
Over here.
Definitely took it safe at the end there, but we got through with no deaths. That's impressive on T4, as we refer to it. Tick tock, tick tock. But there you go, 8-1 over and done. Shoutouts to 99% consistency. Am I right?
Yes. The joke that never tires.
For those confused, there is you saw Aljex tried to slam onto a lever right there, and you effectively use how close the lever is to another thing to like kind of, I'll say like squeeze yourself and like launch into the air kind of is how I think of it in my head. You're like pinching yourself, that's the word I was looking for. To like squeeze yourself up. And Hedwig likes to say the trick is 99% consistent, and then he misses it all the time.
I said it once. I want to add that. I said that once. But yeah, at that point I felt overly confident with the trick.
And
I
so
eventually started.
and so memes have happened now.
Yeah.
Alright, so Aljex now is coming up to the last of our 4 secret exit bees. This one has had a long history of different methods to pick it up. There have been some very, very tricky bomb jumps back when the game first came out. There have been some other like fun ways to like figure out. We used to use berry warping to do a different bomb jump, and then we learned, hey, we can just stand on top of the table. No challenge at all. The only tough thing about that is you saw Aljex knocked over a table as he entered in here. It is very, very easily to get yourself soft locked in this area, and because we can't pause or anything, that is effectively run over. So it's a good thing Aljex got it. Alright, so this level here is Production Path. This is one of the last super hard levels in the run, obviously aside from the Impossible Lair. It's a good example of a level that, or actually it's a good time to talk about the differences sometimes in how the 2D levels are set up. Most of them like to work off of local cycles. So effectively what that means is like as you load up to a particular spot in the level, the game then loads in the components that you're coming up to, and effectively you'll always get to them at the same point in their cycles. This game likes to, or this level likes to also incorporate global cycles into the mix. So the piston he's coming up to here that launches him up to that, or brings him up to the other part, is actually on a global cycle. So if it wasn't hard enough to be moving fast in the level, you have to move fast through everything to get to that at a reasonable time. Otherwise, you just have to wait. But Aljex, again, kind of making things look pretty dang easy. He's all the way at the end of the level here. Nice obligatory damage at the end of 7-1 there. And there you go. That's Production Path. So that is the end of our hard levels here, and now we are going to move into a couple of easier levels to finish off the run. We do these at the end of the run because there are a lot of cutscenes tied to them. I mentioned before that we can't really skip overworld cutscenes, but there are a couple that we are allowed to skip with the caveat of we have to enter into some other levels very, very quickly so we don't cause the game to effectively soft lock. So you'll see that at the end of Chapter 4, the alternate state, which is Frantic Fountains Frozen. But first we gotta get through Frantic Fountains. This is definitely a blink and you miss it level on normal speeds, so just imagine how fast it's gonna be T4 timing here. This level works a lot with fountains, as you can see here. They move up and down, you can move through them. Yeah. Just let Mr. Aljex get his way through here. He's already almost at the end. And just like that, it's over. So this is our last instance of a we have to watch it cutscene. So Phoebe is gonna, the best girl, Queen Phoebe, is gonna show up and teach us how to unlock alternate states because we didn't know that yet. So thank you, game. Thank you for teaching us at this point in the run what we have to do. So here she comes. She's gonna unlock this frozen bee thing, and yeah. So there. Thanks for sharing with us, Phoebe. I guess we'll go get a berry and freeze the level and enter it. And so, as you might imagine, while the fountains used to kind of go up and down and whatnot, they are now frozen, which allows them to act as platforms. So another great example of what is possible with the different kind of alternate states.
Grabbing the berry on the way there. Even harder in that speed. Wait, not a berry, actually.
The shell.
A shell, yeah.
The long jump across the pit there, that was very hard.
Oh yeah, and even again, as will sound like a broken record, even harder on T4. And so yeah, here you go. At the end, now that he's entered in here, we're gonna go down a fun slide for the end of this level. Let's hope for no ice bounces. We are. Oh, we got one. Thankfully, it wasn't. Thankfully, it wasn't by the rest of stuff. But yep. And there is the end of Frantic Fountains Frozen. And so, now we are going to, while there is another cutscene here to watch at the end of this level, we're instead going to skip it by enter 1 as fast as we can. This is going to put us into a very strange state. It's effectively queuing up multiple cutscenes on top of each other, which will have some ramifications at the very end of the run. But for now, we're just gonna do our last levels to collect these, which is the very cozy 1-1 Capital Causeway. That was a sick berry pickup. That's super hard on how fast he's moving.
Wild.
Yep, this level's pretty simple. Nothing really too much to chat about here. He's just using all the tricks we've talked about and moving fast through the level. And as he's coming into the final little area here, so like I said, there is a cutscene that is queued up to play as soon as we end this level, but of course 1-1 has its own cutscene that plays when we end that level. So just kind of like with the end of 4-2, we need to make sure that we warp ourselves up to the Impossible Lair as pretty much as fast as possible, or else we will end up soft locking ourselves. So let's see if it looks like he's gonna make it.
Nice.
We are in there.
He's in. Oh, he's barely in. He is barely in. Like if he had waited like a second longer, he would have the whole entire run would have been over. He would have had to restart his game.
And now I feel like molasses.
It really does look like molasses after you used
It
to see
feels
how
worse,
fast everything
yeah.
moves. But so now you actually get to see. I'm just gonna say you get to see actual boss fights and stuff now.
Yeah, imagine the game running like it's supposed to be. Crazy.
Ugh. Imagine.
But yeah,
So-
this is hopefully going to be able to show off quite a few tricks in the layout here. Like there's a lot of cool damage boosts we like to take to speed up the Impossible Lair.
Yeah, most definitely. I'll give a shout out to our friend DKS for doing a lot of experimentation in the lair and coming up with a lot of good damage boosts. Also, just shout out to the entire 90% community for this game. Shaded Masters, the other main one that we like to talk about. They're mad crazy for what they do. If you thought getting through the Impossible Lair was difficult at all, well, those chaps like to go through the Impossible Lair when they have 0 bees. It like actually just looks like the game is lagging.
I think the game is lagging.
But like you know what I mean? You know,
Yes.
like the. But so as you can see, the lair likes to take all of the various I guess instances of things that it taught us in the rest of the game, and nice ball, and kind of builds on it into one long platforming gauntlet. So there's 4 of them throughout the entirety of the Impossible Lair. The first one is pretty, I don't know, standard. Nothing too special about it. It's long, but it's fine.
A lot of people who play this casually would probably disagree.
Yeah, no, definitely true. Like it's tough, and like it's probably the Dark Souls of 2D platformers. Come on, guys, let's be real. But nah, the reason I say Dark Souls is just because I really do feel like figuring out the Impossible Lair felt like a Dark Souls boss where you kind of had to learn things and just get little progress bit by bit, and then once you're good with it, it just you feel like a madman going through things. But there you go, that's the end of section 1. Now we're gonna have a really great example of a capital B boss fight where we're trying to hit him obviously as soon as we can at any given time. Capital B kind of goes through iframes where you can see when he's blinking red like that, he can't be hit. So it's kind of like a tennis match back and forth of us trying to hit him, and then trying to obviously avoid what he does, and then getting as close to him as possible, or staying as close to him as possible so we can hit him again. Aljex also used a little thing there where you can sit inside of capital B and very much extend his iframes. It's a little nice thing that the game does. Just gives players a little bit more leeway. But there is the end of Fight 2. Now we're coming into what most people probably consider the hardest section of the Lair. There's lots of fun. There's ice physics that you have to deal with, and of course everybody loves those. There are also a lot of elevators that we're going to have to deal with. Sometimes you'll have to deal with both ice and elevators at the same time. But yeah, you'll see this section requires a lot more precision than the previous one. Section 1 is themed by damage boosts. Section 2 is themed by much more precision platforming. So you can see there's some more ropes that we were talking about. They added some helicopter minions, which not. And now here you can see some of the elevators. Sometimes they go down, other times they go up. But the trick with these is that they only move when Yooka is standing on them. And so, because of course they do, they add little saw blades here to make things a bit more challenging. Which, of course, whenever you jump off of it, you can see there that the elevator likes to go back down. So it's tricky there to figure out the best ways to go about it, but Aljex got through just fine. Next. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know, we didn't even talk about it, but Aljex made use there of what's called a delayed jump. They're very hard to tell that they're happening in tick-tock mode, but effectively you can just like in most games, you can press A when you land on an enemy to go a little bit higher. But the special thing with this game, and probably others too, is you can push that A press any time during like the animation of bouncing off of the enemy, which, since the animation itself bounces you off the enemy, it effectively allows us to gain quite a bit more vertical distance.
Whoa.
Oh, whoa, are you hovering?
Yeah, I was hovering.
Yeah, that was weird.
But he wasn't doing the hover animation.
Yeah, obligatory, I've never seen that before. So here you can see the second of our elevators. This one's got fun little helicopter minions. You can see Aljex did a nice little setup where he just got to ride it straight all the way up. Now we're coming to the icy elevator, which is everyone's favorite. As you can see, this one, just like all the other elevators, if you jump off of it, it will start moving back downwards, but of course now we have ice physics to deal with too, as well as all of these rotating buzz saws. Or not rotating.
I thought for a short moment it might have been God Cycle.
I did too.
It's really just God Cycle.
But so yeah, and you can see just a couple helicopter minions to deal with as we're also making our way through some ice physics. This is definitely one of the trickiest parts of the Lair, so if you can make it through icy elevator, good on you. Now, similar to those elevators that went down into spikes, now we're on ropes that go up when we climb them. And then now here coming to the end of section 2, we've got a rope that kind of moves back and forth. Well, we've got to avoid some other hazards. And there you go, section 2 is now done.
Yeah, going out of that section with a pretty decent amount of bees. It's not crazy high, but also not as low as it would like start scaring us hardcore.
He's got a nice little buffer there for sure. So the third phase here, capital B is going to make use of some bombs. It's got the most RNG of any of our fights. Kind of where he goes, as well as what he throws, can be very heavily affected by RNG. But Aljex just gonna take care. Take it a little bit slow here. You can get some really fast cycles through this phase if you know what you're doing, as well as if you get really good RNG. But of course, since it's RNG, we can't control it. Just a one or two more hits here. Yeah, nice. Got the extra hit there.
Really good fight.
Yeah, really good finish to that. Alright, so if Section 1 is themed by damage boosts, and 2 is precision platforming, 3 is speed platforming is probably what I'd say. It makes use of a lot of conveyors in this area, which, as you probably didn't get to see it too much in the other levels, but conveyors like to speed up your horizontal movement quite a bit. So we're going to make use of that to just make ourselves go pretty fast, sift through a lot of the level, sift through a lot of the area, trying to deal with.
Like, when we played with the TikTok.
Yeah, no, exactly. Oh, nice little dodge under there. That was really slick. So now we're coming up to Conveyor Vader, because, of course, he's not going to go for it.
No, God no.
Perfectly fine not to go for it. It's really hard to
Definitely. So, of course, because why wouldn't they? They love their conveyors, they love their elevators, why not put them together? And so... Yeah, but then finally here at the very end, there's a section where you're supposed to kind of make your way across. As you can see, those are collapsing platforms, and you have to time your jumps between them. But we're speedrunners. We don't care about that. We just damage boost over the whole thing. And so now we are into the final fight here. Capital B, like I said, they just love their conveyors. Capital B loves them so much that he just wants them in his own fight as well. Oh, perfect RNG. Got himself to hit himself with a bomb, which is great. You did not need that. Actually, that did work out.
It kind of worked.
That did work out. Good stuff. Nice.
Oops.
Aljex, you are scaring me here with these B hits.
I had like 6 extra Bs going into this fight, so I felt.
Whoa, is this Yooka 1? Alright, we are coming up here on the very end of things. Just have Miss Lexia, who needs to bring in some final defenses. Whoa, how did you make his...
If he touches the conveyor the same frame that you hit him, it'll push you to the right like that. I think it's slower, but it looks cool.
Huh.
So then you
You got yourself over to the right there,
yeah.
which is nice. Probably save a little bit of time. And alright, so what video game would be complete without a self-destruct sequence? We've got to now escape from the Impossible Lair before it explodes. Thankfully we will not have to deal with meme damage. We did have meme door. I think we had 2 meme doors this run actually.
They're slowing me down.
But thankfully, we'll see if we get meme damage. Nope. You can get yourself clipped into a saw blade there for no fault of your own, but it's fun. It's a meme. instead, we're just gonna come through here, some last little windmills to deal with, a couple more ropes, and then we will be at time. And just like that, boom.
Time.
There's 24 bees, folks.
There we go.
24.
GG, Aljex. Man, Burr, that was quite a change.
I see it on your stream. It's 49 minutes, 13 seconds in game time.
Yep.
That is a world record, I believe.
Kind of, technically.
But nobody really runs this category, so.
It is. We're gonna claim there's world record on this marathon.
World record marathon, let's go. Slower than my no tonics time.
We got Wrecky boys. So yeah, unfortunately, as you can see here, the game likes to just, I don't know, not
Freeze.
show. Yeah, it just likes to freeze out at the very end of everything. But yeah, that's 24 Bs. Hope y'all had fun.
Yeah, and you guys are gonna get to see Aljex later again in the marathon performing one side of the Yooka Bingo to go against Kasayev. Stay tuned for that, everyone. We're just gonna hop over into the intermission screen. That's what it's called.